Hello my friends, here we have the new military map update. Our guys from 225th Brigade published kind of the interesting video material of how they were capable to get Kindrativka back under control. This is the Sumy region, just for your info, and let's go to review that video. Yeah, just watch this video and probably I cannot show you everything here on YouTube, but our guys really used tons of the drones, like extraordinary amount of the drones in this case. It was unusual even for the modern-day worst scenario operation. After it, our guys just stormed the local buildings one by one using infantry forces. As you may see, this is some sort of the grain factory, agriculture one, which is abandoned already for, I guess, many years. Because all of those villages, they were located in a gray area, close to the Russian border also for a very long time. So guys told that they were capable to encircle the Russian army in Kindrativka. Russians also complained about it a lot in their military channels. Military bloggers told about significant losses, way more than usual, even for Russia. So yeah, we have tons of the reports from the Russian channel. So today my friends confirmed that in Kindrativka and Sumy direction, our warriors from 30th battalion, I guess, left there forever. They were holding their positions until they were caputed, so they were not able to leave the area, because again, as I've told you, for many days the positions were encircled. Russians also write that they tried to send some of the reinforcements, but they were not able to get to the place. Ukraine used Himarya means HIMARS systems, to finish off our, so Russian artillery, and all of that was at the same time with lots of the FPV drones in use by Ukraine. Internal memory for our warriors, blah blah blah. Plus here they mention about the very bad scenario for Russian army, potentially bad in Oleksiivka. Yeah, one more Russian channel says that Kindrativka fully lost, Hohol, so Ukrainians are storming Oleksiivka. The situation in the Sumy Oblast is very difficult for our army because we are in lack of the reserves. And Gerasimov is doing this all the time, so they complain about the tactics of the Russian army, that Russians left there in Sumy region without the reserves. So there was the political goal to start the Sumy operation, but they didn't think that it would go really terrible for Russians. The aim of this operation was to deflect the attention of the Ukrainian army group and attack mostly in the east, but even for this limited operation, Russians are in lack of the resources, and they complain about it. Some other Russian military bloggers complain about beautiful reports which were not fit the reality, which were coming from the Sumy region for the high Russian military command. That's why they were unaware of what is really happening. So again, it tells about very bad system coordination and communication within the Russian army. If everything of that functioned quite well, it would be very bad for Ukraine. So it's good that the Russian army has its own flaws and the Russian system in general. So the fights are now in Oleksiivka, as I told you in my previous video, for now without military map updates, but the fights are quite heavy there. And again, guys from the same 225th Brigade in action. It seems like they use some sort of the very effective tactics, and Ukraine is really determined to liberate Sumy region entirely, starting from all of those villages in the western side of the front lines of Sumy. But if I take the map from the Myco73 analytic, he usually shows all of the clashes in the place, I see that the intensity of the fight slowed down in Sumy. Well, at least from the Russian side, before they used lots of the aviation gliding bombs, but for the recent time just one strike was reported. Ukraine is also using aviation, for example in Totkino, we have the confirmation about it. Ukraine hit some of the building where Russians could potentially hide. So here we have the video. There was the kaboom straight towards the building. Very precise aviation gliding bombs. Mostly Ukraine is using nowadays French bombs. My friends, by the way, if you have the opportunity, you may support me on Patreon by motivating me to film more and more videos. If you don't have this opportunity, you may just press your like to this video, and by doing so, you help me a lot. Thank you so much. Alright guys, from Sumy region, let's go to the Kharkiv one. There, Russians pushed a little in Vovchansk, so they advanced over here. It was 2 days ago, and it is today. They took control over this local forest patch, just minor fluctuations of the front lines, but you see that Russians, yeah, they stuck in Vovchansk, but still front lines, they're boiling a little. But despite the small territorial gains in Vovchansk, here you can see also the confirmation about the small Russian movement in the same patch. Well, Russians continue to lose the vehicles. And here you see the rocket artillery system. What was that? I guess you can see it. Maybe some sort of the Grad artillery system. Oh no, it's TOS-1A thermobaric rocket launcher. And it's not just a single Solntsepak which Russia lost recently. I have one more video for you. Well, here's the fresh video with one more Solntsepak. You may see it here. It's driving somewhere. It's hard to identify the location, but this video is brand new. So Solntsepak was hit by the drone. You may see definitely 100% Solntsepak. Yeah, it was hit. So it's different video compared to the evidence of which we witness from the direction of Kharkiv region. Yeah, definitely it's the different one, because here you can see trees are coming from both of the sides, but here it's from the single side. So Russia recently lost 2 of the systems, which is good. Alright, now I know the geolocation from the other source. This is the Pokrovsk direction. The problem for those Solntsepak systems that the range of the shell is not more than 15 kilometers. That's why they have to go very close to the front lines. Probably that's the reason for them to have the armor in general, but armor doesn't save the crew usually, because Ukraine kabooms it right away. But Solntsepaks, they're very devastative, like there is no place to hide. They burn everything with thermobaric shells. Even if you hide in a trench, it will not save you. Those are not the standard artillery shells. They burn, they press the air, so just burns everything. It's like a remote flamethrower, something like that. And I heard that many of our warriors, they do afraid of the system, but it has its own downsides. You see, it's kind of vulnerable against drones. And this is the main reason for Russia not to use Solntsepaks all across the front lines. Just occasional use, but they send those to the most difficult parts of the front lines, where Ukraine sometimes hits them very hard. Here is the result of the Solntsepak. You may see it burns the entire field area. A little bit north here to Kupiansk, no movement of the Russian army for the last couple of days, but before there was the big movement towards Radkivka, which Russians occupied, creating the threat for Kupiansk. Well, according to the information coming from analytics, Russians after all tried to advance to Kupiansk from this direction. It happened yesterday, so there was the attack vector like this. But we have the confirmation that this assault didn't go well for them. They went to the local village. They went into the local houses or remains of the houses, and later on they were finished by Ukrainian drone strikes and artillery. So this attack totally failed for Russia, for this time at least. So this is Kupiansk. You see how fast and how strong Russia moves here, expanding the gray zone, and they want to go here to the city. But so far they were stopped, and probably if Russian command sees the success of the Kupiansk operation, they may pour more of the infantry forces and other forces here in this direction. Because if Russia occupies Kupiansk, it could be a very big political and PR victory for Putin. Across the Oskil River, in all of those big pockets, there was no movement from the Russian side for the last 24 or 48 hours. They are silent here. However, Russians tried to attack in Siversk direction. It was definitely a massive attack. 2 of the waves, Russians used even tanks and MTLB vehicles, BTRs as well, light armored vehicles, motorcycles, and Bukhanka vans, obviously. Well, so far it's the biggest Russian attack for the recent months that I've witnessed, judging on the drone videos. This time they didn't form the long convoy, they tried to keep the distance, but after one truck is hit, the other one is also stopped right behind. So even if they attack separately, they are stopped. This is the tank with a plaque in the front to demine the field. So as you can see, they are not using roads. Here it hit the mine. Finally the vehicle was stopped, then they used the other ones, and later on they sent motorcycles. So motorcycles in action. After tank is stopped, they tried to assault even further. And Ukraine is using those FPV drones. You can see the whole field full of kabooms, kaputs. It was definitely a mess for the Russian army. Then they used some of the BMPs, hangar type of the BMPs, which were also hit, and they use other wave and other wave. I wonder why they put so much priority to Siversk direction, because I thought that it's better to concentrate the forces in Pokrovsk. By the way, Russia also tried to attack Pokrovsk. I've told you about it yesterday. Their attack was repelled, and here is one more in Siversk, which is very strange that they split the forces so widely in all of the directions of the front lines. Like, if they used a few of the vehicles, okay, but they used lots of them in Siversk. It looks as it is #1 priority for Russia really to advance there. So total Russian attack involved 6 of the tanks, 3 of the personal carrying vehicles, 6 MTLBs converted into the hangar type of the infantry carrying vehicles, 12 light armored trucks, so pickups, 2 buggies, and 41 motorcycles. Yeah, it's all happened in Siversk. Again, it's the biggest mechanized Russian assault I've witnessed this month. Siversk direction, Siversk axis, but where exactly it happened, I don't have the geolocation so far. Right, guys, I have the map actually where it happened. I mean the advancement of the Russian convoy vehicles, not far away from Verkhnya Kamenka. Indeed, it's the Siversk direction. Russians used this road and were caputed on their own controlled territory, not even reaching Ukrainian positions. That's the fantastic outcome. So once again, this is Siversk and this is Verkhnya Kamenka. There's also Verkhnya Kamenska, and Russians tried to go here, but were caputed on this road, trying to advance from this settlement. Well, what can I say? Happens, because this is Siversk and Russia could have advanced from any sort of the side. Right, further south, Konstantinivka, Chasiv Yar, Toretsk, no news there, and no news are the good news. But if we go eastbound, where Russia created this significant bridgehead, I guess there was the movement of the Russian army. They've took those lakes even under control, and they also expanded this gray area. This offensive of Russia, this attack was kind of significant 3 days ago. Now they want to expand more in this region. That's why Ukraine announced the evacuation of all of the nearby settlements, including even Dobrapilya. Today in Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, everything is more or less stable after the failed Russian attempt to reach Pokrovsk from Shevchenka. Their big attack was repelled, and now it's more or less calm. There are also no attempts from Russia to go to Rodinsk, and Ukraine should secure this village as hard as possible. It is the key village for the security of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd. If Russia takes it, it could be a very fast defeat of Ukraine in this pocket. And this is the map from the Michael 73. He shows that Russia went to Zverova. Yes, I told you about it a couple of days ago. Here was the attempt of Russia to move, but their vehicles were stopped. In Udachne, however, we also have the data about the Ukrainian army advancement. I see that our guys moved with Humvee vehicle, at least 2 of the Humvees. Infantry forces, very capable. GoPro camera video is somewhere out there. I'm gonna find it and make maybe my own reaction on that, but not on this channel, because I don't want to post that stuff, like really those hostilities, because, you know, my channel is already restricted. I don't want to make it even worse for it. Let's go more to the west. Here Russia definitely moved a lot. This is the Komar direction. They're very close to the Dnipropetrovsk region, and we have this big update actually. So Russia moves towards Dachne, expanding the gray area. With the red and gray area, they have this assault vector. They create those small pockets not far away from Iskra. Zeleny High was mainly captured by Russians, and I predict that they will advance. They will advance till this river, which goes together with the hill. They have multiple of the attack vectors, and here Ukrainian defense is not okay, let's be honest. It is better afterwards here, and with the help of this natural obstacle, hopefully Russians could be stopped, but now they move quite a lot. So we see yesterday, today they also expanded here, they moved towards Voskresenka. One more Russian big attack vector, so Russia still has resources for their attacks, with even their volunteers coming, but it is not infinite. There are less and less volunteers actually, and Russia wants to expand the military actions against Ukraine. That's why, guys, I think that mobilization is imminent in Russia. I don't see that Putin wants to stop. That's why there is no other variant for Putin to avoid the big mobilization if he wants to continue. But we see that he wants. There are no any signals coming from the Russian command, Russian elite, that they want to finish this war or at least to freeze it. What's about this big line here of the front lines? It's more or less stable except just a single direction. Kamensk. Russians moved, but now Ukraine tries to counterattack. And it seems like the counterattack is more or less successful, judging on this military map. My friends, in the coming hours I'm gonna upload one more video about the general news relative to Ukraine, so please watch it as well. And for now, don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot, and I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.